Pace truck is off, and the green flag is getting ready to wave. It is indeed, and we're racing in Atlanta.
26 is no help. You're clear right now. Keep it to 23. That's your momentum. Still all clear. It is clear. One by one. Next three are clear. Top of 399 with you. Still inside. Still top of 3. Back to top of 3, still top of 3, top of 2 again, you in the 2. There you go. Still moving here on top. Just you in the 2 now.
Christian Eckes still looking for his first top 10 of the season, but he's showing you he's got plenty of speed off the go, and he is the leader with Brett Moffitt in that white and red truck there in second, but getting some pressure from the outside, and that's the 98 of Grant Enfinger.
Great move there off turn 2 from Enfinger. We talked at the opening of the show how differing grooves can play into how your truck handles. These guys are already moving all around this racetrack.
And a caution is out here on lap 2 as we were watching Kyle Busch run around that top side and making some gains. And it's the 28 of Brian Doza who has gone around. Maybe give some of these, we talked about 14 drivers who haven't made a start yet, maybe give their chance an opportunity for their heart to start beating again after those first couple of laps. And Doza just lost it there by himself.
Yeah, you'd think that far back maybe there was a tire issue and hard into the inside wall. Started in the back and he's going to finish there.
Early caution for the Gander trucks in Atlanta. Green when we come back. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway and the VetTix Camping World 200. The Gander trucks had an early caution for the spin of Brian Doza. Well, we saw Kyle Busch on the move right out of the gate, didn't we, Todd?
Yes, we did. You know, we talked about the young guys not knowing what to expect. Well, Kyle's the old wily veteran. He got a head of steam going on the start here, and he says, well, I'm going to go to the outside. I think we can make this work because I know it's going to stick. And what's impressive, look at the guy behind him here. The 21, Zane Smith, said, hey, he's going up there. He knows what he's doing. I'm going to follow him up there. Well, he's out of the picture, but he's right there behind him. So Kyle knows what he's doing on this track.
You know what I love about that is Zane Smith said he's going to go to the front and I'm going to go with him. And he's got right on his tail. So that was a great start for the youngster out of California in that 21 truck. Positioned right behind Kyle still, where he said he was going to be.
Good spot to be for now, for sure. And remember, this first stage, 30 laps, and we anticipate a competition caution at about lap 15.
And pay attention to this start. Atlanta has historically been really hard to get going on the outside. Todd and I have debated this all morning, why that could be, but just start making notes. We saw Eckes get the jump at the original start. That inside line was better. Let's see what happens here.
Grant Enfinger will start on the outside of Christian Eckes. The green back out, and we're going again in Atlanta.
That was one of the better starts you're going to see on the outside by Grant Enfinger for sure. Didn't spin the tires, didn't lose a lot of ground. Normally, that second place guy would be in about 4th position right now.
You know who's cheering for Grant Enfinger to get up there and lead this race is Tim Duggar.
Oh, Timmy.
Our country music buddy, his face is on the back of Enfinger's truck. And he said he's really looking forward to today's race, watching it here on FS1.
How about Front Row Motorsports' Todd Gilliland in that 38 on the outside of Sheldon Creed? Those two youngsters battling while Christian Eckes starts to stretch it out a little bit, but it's going to tighten up, I would guess, because Kyle Busch has moved into second. And look at Kyle running the higher line. A lot of folks thought this would be a race run around the bottom, but we're starting to see that spread out already.
I think this is a race of versatility, Vince. You have to go where they're not. And if that means hitting the bottom like you see Matt Crafton doing on the inside of Gilliland there, or slipping up the top, as you see Matt Crafton doing off turn 4, you got to be ready to go everywhere, Todd.
Exactly. You know, we talk about aerodynamics in these trucks all the time. And what Kyle did right there is he stayed out of the wake of Christian Eckes in front of him and gave himself some downforce. Matt right there made that pass, got up behind the 38, pushed up, lost his front end. That's what happened.
And now he's loose. Man, that truck's sliding all over the place and able to hang on to it and make some ground. When you see Matt Crafton, Vince, running this well early in the race, just note that because he's going to be strong all day long.
6th, 7th, and 8th. Gilliland had a tough break, tough finish at Charlotte after having a pretty good run, and brought Mannington Commercial Flooring into the sport for the first time today, and they're on the front and back of the truck. So congratulations and welcome to NASCAR, Mannington. Gilliland in the 38, Crafton last year's series champ in the 88, and that's Austin Hill right behind them.
That was a great corner for that 38 truck, able to clear Crafton. And he's going to choose the middle lane there to go around the lap truck of Doza. We see struggling there on the bottom, and here comes Zane.
Zane Smith moving up for 10th as Doza is trying to get off the track and get onto pit road.
Zane wished he had hurried up.
Created a little more excitement than Zane was counting for.
Zane had to lift a little bit. This kind of cost him a position here. You know, one thing, Mike, I think we're seeing in these first 15 laps before the competition caution, you know, we talk about tire management. There is no tire management right now. Run as hard as you can run. Make your truck do the wrong thing so you can come in and adjust it and get it right on that first stop.
Yeah, you know, Todd, that's where these rookies might struggle a bit. You know, they feel what they feel, and they try to relay that to their crew chief in words that the crew chief can understand. But when you don't know what your truck's going to do after 15 laps, how do you adjust it?
Especially when they're on lap number 10 right now. This is their 10th lap ever on this racetrack.
And watch these trucks skate around. They're slipping and sliding already, and we're just, you mentioned it, just 10 laps in.
Challenge for the lead. Kyle Busch taking a look on his teenage teammate, Christian Eckes.
How about that? Kyle Busch won all these races, and he owns the truck that Eckes is driving, and he's pretty much watching over him right now.
In fact, that truck that Eckes is driving is the one that Kyle drove to victory here at Atlanta a year ago. Alan?
And Vince, this early run for Christian Eckes in the 18, it's as much about confidence as it is results. Last week they finished 14th at Charlotte, and both the driver and his crew chief Rudy Fugel told me 14th for a Kyle Busch Motorsports truck at Charlotte is unacceptable. They had a huge meeting. We got caution on the racetrack.
And it's Doza again going around, and he'll bring out the caution for the second time. And I would imagine this caution will lead right into the competition caution, wouldn't you think, Mike?
Or they might run another restart to get some more laps on these tires, but it would be reasonable to think that that's what'll happen.
I'd love to see another restart, wouldn't you, Todd?
Absolutely.
Well, you're getting ready to. One way or the other.
One way or the other.
You see on our scoring pylon, Chase Elliott down in 15th. Didn't go anywhere when they started this race, so
started 13th, so it was actually
he did
lost
go
a couple of spots. Went the wrong direction.
That's right, and that's surprising. We saw Kyle charge to the front, and interesting.
Great look from the onboard of Jeff Burton, and there's Doza getting a little help, but that's way too slow, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I think Doza had another flat tire going down right there, and that's why he was so slow at that point.
And look at the damage that it's done to Burton's truck.
No free pass, and this will indeed be the competition caution. So the team's getting ready.
Talk about movers through the field. How about Ross Chastain? Started 27th up to 18th in 12 laps.
Well, you knew that was happening.
That wasn't going to take him long. He's got some experience.
The Watermelon Man is going to be up front before this race is over. He loves the challenges, just like Brett Moffitt and these young racers. They want Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch in this race because they want to go beat them, make a statement.
Absolutely. You know, and Ross is one of our guys that, you know, he doesn't have any dirt track experience, but he doesn't mind sliding around and getting the truck a little sideways. He's got a lot of truck control, car control, and he loves these slick tracks.
Neath's Motorsports with 4 trucks today, Vince, so they'll be competitive all the way through.
Ryan Truex, Ross Chastain, Jeff Burton, and Ty Majeski.
Kyle Busch is reporting from his truck that he's been loose, and this is where you'll see experience pay off. He knows exactly what he needs to run another 15 laps, the adjustments that he'll need to make.
Well, what a week, or what a race it was for GMS at Charlotte in our most recent event. 4 of the top 5 drivers for GMS Racing finishing in the top 5, and that's the first time that's ever happened. 4 trucks in the top 5 from the same team.
It's impressive.
Yeah, Mike Beam and Tom Ackerman, of course, Maury Gallagher, team owner, they have just done a phenomenal job with that organization and brought Bono Mannion over this year, and he's been a big shot in the arm for that group.
Let's not forget the guys in the trenches building these trucks up there. You know, to build all those trucks that are that good, that's pretty impressive.
Well, this is interesting.
Yeah, so not everybody coming at this competition caution as we anticipated might. There's the 21 of Zane Smith, the 13 of Johnny Sauter also on pit road.
This is all about sitting on a set of tires, Vince,
Exactly.
saving them for later in the race. Kyle Busch feels like he's fast enough to make it to the end of this first stage and doesn't really care, I don't think, necessarily whether he wins this stage or not. More important to save those tires.
It's all about tires, and you know, we know, again, this racetrack wore out, no grip. You can have that extra set of tires in the last stage. You're going to have a pretty big advantage on your competition.
You know what I love, Vince, is we're getting ready to see an awesome restart with these old tires and new tires mixed.
Stay tuned. Coming back to Atlanta. Series getting ready to go back green after this competition caution halfway through stage 1 with Kyle Busch and Christian Eckes on the front row. Got to go all the way back to row 9 for the fresh tires.
Kyle Busch started in that outside lane, Todd, and I think that was just an experiment to see if he did get stuck up there, could he pull off the restart? Well, the answer on this one was certainly no.
It was a failure for sure.
Look at that pack as Kyle Busch gives a little shove to Brett Moffitt in that 23 truck. Austin Hill looking down low and making it 3 wide with Sheldon Creed in the middle.
Oh, and that's tight down there, Vince. Nice job by Hill holding onto his truck.
Todd Gilliland in the red and white 38 behind them.
Todd, you know what I love about racing in Atlanta? You go down the front straightaway, you look where everybody else went, you just go somewhere else. There's multiple grooves in the corners.
There's going to be a lane somewhere you can pick.
Kyle Busch on the top side trying to recover from that bad restart, and Sheldon Creed tucks in behind him. There's Austin Hill in the 16.
Look at Kyle just turn down as Brett Moffitt takes his lane up there on the high side of 3 and 4, but Brett holds his own.
Moffitt in second and Busch in third.
Well, you mentioned Kyle his report was that he was a little loose, and you could see it right there when he turned under Brett. Jumped a little sideways and he wasn't able to complete the pass, but you know, he understands throttle control. That means letting off the gas and getting back into it and how to try to minimize that looseness.
Zane Smith in the 21 trying to work his way back up after getting fresh tires. He's riding in that 13th position. Back to the front, and a battle for second between Moffitt and Kyle Busch.
And there's some good information being gathered here by these trucks too, Todd. Their tires are older. They see the trucks falling off. They know what adjustments they need. A couple experienced guys like Moffitt and Kyle. So this is good racing here.
And I like Sheldon Creed. You saw Creed back behind the two of them, behind Moffitt and Busch. And Creed has done a terrific job this season with 3 straight top 10s. Keep an eye on that battle for second on the left side of the screen. And Johnny Sauter starting to move up. That's his teammate Matt Crafton in the Neon 88.
Just outside the top 15 is Sauter. You can see Moffitt holding tough on that high lane.
Here's the pit stop. Sometimes it's beautiful choreography, and other times it's like Michael on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, I did because I care. Is that what you're going to say or not?
Moffitt still about a half a truck length ahead of Kyle Busch on the outside, and 10 to go here in this first stage.
Well, you can see the back of Kyle's truck just wiggling around up there, trying to get some grip. You know, running the outside requires less grip of the tires, and that's why it's usually better to run up there when you're loose.
We talked a little bit about Sheldon Creed, who's right behind this duo. Creed running in 4th. There's a good look at him in that 2 truck. Top 10 in all 3 races this season. Only 3 drivers in the series have done that. And he and crew chief Jeff Stankiewicz, they really believe they have a team. They've got speed, and they believe they have a team that can make a deep run in the playoffs. There's a lot of confidence in that camp.
I got to agree with him. I think that last year Sheldon went through a very steep learning curve, especially the first half of the season. Made some mistakes and put themselves in some bad position. But as the season went on, he got better. Jeff got the trucks better, and I definitely think they're in a better position.
The exchange of the lead as Kyle Busch got around Christian Eckes. And here's Johnny Sauter with fresh rubber on all 4 corners, and he's now up to 11th. Alan on Sauter.
Yeah, you're seeing the benefit of those new tires, but the opposite side of that is they won't have tires at the end of the race, which is why you saw the differing strategies from different teams. I went and asked the 13, why'd you come in now? They said they were just too loose. They had to come in and fix it to get it right now instead of later.
Thanks, Alan. And differing strategies. We'll see how that plays out as the race progresses, as Chase Elliott's on the move. Mike?
Yeah, talking about him not going anywhere when the race started. Maybe he was just saving his tires, Vince. We've talked a lot about tires and how important they are. Just know they're a big deal in this race. Chase ran around 15th or so. When the caution came out, he stayed out.
Well, of course, it's Fox Sports, so of course we would have the Fox.
He made it.
Smart, though. He got off that track in a hurry.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. Kyle Busch continues to lead the way here, and a good little battle right back here with 5th, 6th, and 7th. Austin Hill, Sheldon Creed, and Grant Enfinger.
You know, you were talking, Todd, Creed is a great example. Is you can slow a guy down, it's hard to speed him up. And when he got in the trucks last year, he was set on full go every lap. And you know, sometimes you have to be a little bit patient and let the race come to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's easier to slow him down than it is speed him up. So that was a good thing. But Sheldon is definitely figuring these trucks out.
Well, they only have 1 stage point so far this season. So this is a big opportunity for them here in the first stage, and certainly something that they were setting as a goal today. Get some stage points, as Matt Crafton going backwards.
Well, I told you when he starts strong, he's going to be a factor all night long, all day long. Well, he's 20th now, so be interesting, Alan, to see what they're struggling with. Looked good when this race started.
They did, Michael. Now just go in the wrong direction. He says it's just too loose right now. It's so hard for him to get in the corner and keep the truck under him, so he's going the wrong way. Remember, this is after some terrible luck last week where a piece of thin metal, a piece that shouldn't have been on the truck, it broke the track bar, that mount last week, and it cost him a good finish at Charlotte. Now they're going the wrong way here in stage 1 at Atlanta.
There's the 40 truck of Ryan McKinney, or excuse me, of Ryan Truex going past. Ryan McKinney, the crew chief. I was going to say a pair of Ryans on that 40 truck.
Is he Ryan McKinney Jr. or not?
No, he's not.
Are you hearing a common theme among these drivers in their complaints? Loose, loose, we're loose. I got to believe that's because of the racetrack. Again, not racing on this racetrack very often in the sunlight in this kind of heat. I think that's what's doing this to them. They just missed it on their setup.
Look at Zane Smith around Brett Moffitt up to the 4th position. This truck is handling well. He's got an advantage with those fresher tires. But I'm telling you, Todd, I like having that set sitting in the pits at this point in the race instead of on my truck. You're going to come in and get 4 more in a minute.
I'm with you, Michael. I think that those guys have definitely got an advantage. And, you know, let's take Zane Smith example. What did he gain right here by putting those tires on? Well, he got a little better track time. You know, he's learning his truck a little more because he hasn't been on this track. But later in this race, I think it's definitely going to cost him.
Well, he's about 3/4 of a second faster than the front runners. So what he's thinking about now is stage points. Let's go get some points. Make sure we take advantage of using this set of tires.
Johnny Sauter and Ross Chastain for 8th. Sauter in the gray Ford, and that's Chastain in the red Chevy with all those watermelons in the back. Coming up on Sheldon Creed in that 2 truck. It's amazing he can run all race long, and those melons never come out of it.
I am constantly amazed. And you know what he loves to do? He loves to bust melons when he wins a race. But until the checker flag falls, you can't be busting any melons.
Kyle Busch, stage 1 winner. 4th straight stage win at Atlanta for Kyle, and Chase Elliott is right there coming in 2nd with Eckes, Smith, Hill rounding out the top 5. And remember, the top 10 that run for the championship all get stage points. Kyle's not running for the championship, just victories. He's got stage 1 win. On this week's Friday Night SmackDown, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles meet in a dream matchup in the finals of the Intercontinental Championship Tournament. You can catch both Daniel and AJ as they will be the Grand Marshals of the Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief 500 from Martinsville on Wednesday on FS1, 7 o'clock Eastern, just a couple of days before they meet for the championship.
I might go referee that match, Vince. I've got a little bit of experience in that.
Yes, you do. You are a man of many experiences.
Yes, and most of them are positive.
We won't mention the negatives.
If you say so. Well, stage one complete. Kyle Busch won that, and many stayed out during the competition caution, including Kyle, who you see there in the 51, and you look for them to come. In fact, I would anticipate everybody coming here at the end of stage one, even those that stopped at the competition caution.
You see him scrubbing his tires in, you're thinking, well, he's going to change them. Why is he doing that? That's to get grip into his box. He needs to get a good launch into his box so the team can do their job.
Chase Elliott, that second car in line. Christian Eckes third. And that's the blue and white 16 of Austin Hill fourth in your picture.
There's Sheldon Creed in the 2. He's going to come to a stop, hopefully on his mark, so his team can choreograph that stop perfectly. Looked like they jumped over in good position.
Yeah, and for Creed, getting stage points was huge, and they got some here at the end of stage one, as you see Chase Elliott on the right and Kyle Busch on the left. Alan?
Yeah, on the left, Kyle Busch there in the 51. A good stage for him. Obviously, he won, but he wants it to be perfect as it's just too tight getting into turn 3.
There's Eckes on the right-hand side, a little bit of a delay.
Was he blocked in, Todd?
Yes, he was blocked in big time right there. Putting the reverse to get back. That's terrible.
Ah, look at that. Matt Crafton's problems have gotten worse, obviously.
Left front flat looks like it came apart on him. That's not good.
You know, tire wear is an issue here. We hadn't heard of any problems with tire wear, but that left front, it probably takes the most abuse on one of these trucks. I know people think the right front going in the corner, but they try to load that left front so much that it really pounds that tire into the ground.
So bad brakes for Crafton. Each of the last 2 races, they had that mechanical issue at Charlotte.
I don't think it's a tire, Todd.
Nope. And then, there was the contact right there. Hit the back end of John Hunter Nemechek.
Wow. Just a mistake you can't afford to make. We've talked before, Vince, about how sensitive that right rear corner of these trucks are. And you can see John Hunter's is torn up, but it's bent in the proper direction. It hanging out to the right is better than if it's smashed into the left.
Tire wear and the condition of the tires going to be a story all weekend long here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Gander trucks. Triple header weekend here in Atlanta. Xfinity racing later today, and then the Cup Series tomorrow. There's the damage on Matt Crafton's 88, and here's what happened. Watch the blue truck about 3/4 of the way back there pull off the track or pull off into his pit box, and Ryan Truex right behind him has to check up, and when he does, it's an accordion effect and damage is done.
Yeah, this is exactly why I always left room to the car or truck in front of me, because inevitably this is going to happen somewhere down the line, and you're not going to be able to stop, just like Matt couldn't stop or go around him. The 0.5 of a second that you're going to gain by being on that guy's bumper, risk versus reward for me, it just wasn't there.
Rip it, but not rip it off. You got to tape it down, and you can see Crafton's all taped up, and that doesn't look like too bad of damage after all, Alan.
And that was the exact message, Mikey, from Crew Chief Junior Joyner to Matt Crafton. You could see all that bear bond there on the front of the 88 truck. They had to beat the clock here in the pits, but as you said, the message to Matt Crafton was it doesn't look that bad. They think they can keep on going and get a good finish at it today.
Thanks, Adam.
The 88, Matt Crafton, his teammate Johnny Sauter, one of 2 caught for speeding on that pit exchange, Ross Chastain being the other, and there's the damage of John Hunter Nemechek's truck. He got it from both ends, front and back.
That doesn't look good, but if that grill isn't damaged and that right rear fender, you see how that's hanging out, Todd?
That could be okay. I'm not going to say it's not, but the problem with the front end is the drag that's going to create in the truck, and these motors don't have the horsepower that they used to have with the other style of OEM motors, so it could hurt them. We'll see.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Heck, it's Atlanta. It could make it better.
This restart to begin Stage 2, Zane Smith on the inside, Chase Elliott on the outside, and as the green flag waves, we'll do a McDonald's crank it up.
Halfback 1 up 38. Straight line. Still clear. 9 out there, even. 51. There you go. 1 back 38. 38. Close to complete here. Your bumper looking inside here. 51. Inside quarter. Clear. For that line there. Perfect. 2 back exits. Nobody outside. All good here. We're about 5 back to Sheldon. Still there, quarter, outside now, top lane, there you go. Clear, outside, top lane, 99 is going to make a 3 wide again, all the way up top, 3 wide, 2 wide now, sit 9. Pass back 1 lane up, little one coming here. Still clear, up to your bumper pushing, out of line. He's under 2 wide behind you here.
Chase Elliott out front. After that restart, Kyle Busch right there in second and Sheldon Creed in third. Grant Enfinger keeping an eye on him as he runs the bottom. When you really like the lap times Chase Elliott was putting down at the end of that first stage, Mike, and he definitely has speed.
Now this is just great strategy. I love everything that 24 team has done during this race. There you see Ben Rhodes, he's working his way up toward the top 10. Look at how fast that truck is on the bottom, Todd. That's a nice run off.
Yeah, you heard Ben talk about before the race, Michael, when you talked to him, that he wanted to bide his time and just figure his truck out and work on it and get it good. He thought he was going to have a good piece, and there it is.
Rhodes came back in a second time. He restarted 29th. He's already back up to 14th. Look at this. Friesen, Tanner Gray, the 42 of Chastain. And there's Truex right behind them on the left-hand side. Jeb Burton in the onboard.
Tanner Gray hanging nicely in that 15 truck up on the outside. This is racing just outside the top 15. It doesn't matter where you are, you're going to have a battle on your hands.
Tanner has been one of the rookies this year that's most impressed me, Michael. He has really figured out these trucks in a hurry.
Kyle Busch had to make a evasive move and I think hold on to that after getting a shove from Moffitt.
Looked to me like Brett helped him pass it. Turned him right underneath him.
It might have wrecked a mortal man, but it actually helped Kyle Busch as he was able to jump inside there and make that move.
Rafael Lessard in the black number 4 with Moffitt there in the 23.
This is a big day for Lessard. They struggled a bit at Charlotte, and I think it's important for confidence reasons, like we said earlier, that you get a good run under your belt and running up inside the top 10, driving around Brett Moffitt. That's the kind of thing you need.
He's another one of our young men that have not turned any laps here, so this is all brand new to him.
How about Lessard, Alan?
Yeah, it's all about getting experience here. He's getting a lot of it right there with Brett Moffitt coming up from behind. But Mikey and Todd, maybe you guys can talk about this. Rafael Lessard says the hardest thing to learn is drafting here, especially side drafting. He says he has to be so aggressive at it to have any success. What is that like for a young driver?
Well, when you've never experienced it, as in Rafael's case, just figuring it out is difficult. But the best way I can explain to these guys to figure it out the quickest is just think of the air as water and how water would flow around a truck in the truck in front of you. And that's how you learn it and figure it out. And then you got to go out and actually feel it. Side drafting, when you pull up behind somebody, how much is your truck going to push? Somebody gets behind you, how much are you going to get loose? And then you get in a situation like this and you go 3 wide, you have no idea what you got.
You know, and you say water, they feel like they're riding in water right now, Todd. You see these trucks slipping and sliding, and that's the difficult thing about side drafting and learning the draft when you're so loose and sideways. You've got to give extra room to the trucks around you or you could spin out.
That silver number 13 truck of Johnny Sauter trying to make his way back up through the field, rides just outside the top 15. Chase Elliott leads at Atlanta. You've been watching it, the battle for the lead. Kyle Busch now getting it from Chase Elliott, wrestling it away finally with 11 to go here in stage 2. Remember, we started this second stage with Zane Smith up front, but he had not pitted. He had stayed out trying to get back on another plan of keeping a set of tires for the end of the race. And boy, he started on the front row, but it shows you what those tires are worth. He's now back in 15th.
And that's a risky move by that team, but they had to get what they feel like on the same page as these two because they are so fast. You can see Kyle Busch with a big run off turn 2. That gives him the lead. Use that high line for the exit and the momentum, Todd, and then cut to the bottom.
Yeah, when you run up there, that is probably the single biggest advantage is to keep that motor wound up. But look what we have here.
Chase has gotten back around Kyle, so a nice little battle between these. You know, off the top of the show, we talked about Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch. They're going to be the two guys to beat, but if there's going to be somebody else today get it done, who's it going to be? We mentioned Zane Smith in that conversation, but what do you think now, Mike?
He's depending on a caution flag soon. He's going to have to work his tail off to stay on the lead lap. There's only 9 laps in this stage left.
And just as you said, Mike, there is the caution. Wow. And that's Self there in the middle. Austin Wayne Self in the middle of the track. And Angela Ruck had to make a evasive move to avoid Austin Wayne Self. And thankfully she accomplished that. Boy, that was a dangerous position for Self to be stopped as he was running 29th.
And a great job by Angela. You know, we talk about grip and slipping and sliding. When something goes wrong in front of you, you just get on the brakes hard, you're going to slide right into them. So heads up driving by her.
We're going to have a nice little dash here to the end of stage 2. Watch this battle here between Kyle Busch and
wow. Man, it's a good thing she didn't panic in that bright orange truck because the brakes would have definitely slid her into Self. Spotters are on the radio right now saying he's high, he's high, he's high. Now he goes low. You got to make a decision.
Oh, that was close.
Boy, a couple of trucks. Close call there for Austin Wayne Self. Thankfully, he has gotten off track and made his way to pit road. Nice little battle we saw there between Chase Elliott and Kyle Busch. Spencer Boyd gets the free pass.
Another differing hand of strategies here. You can see a lot of our leaders coming to pit road.
Getting fresh tires for this restart here at the end of stage 2.
Now, when they go back green, these guys are going to have about, when they go back on the second stage, they're going to have about 5 laps on their tires. So how big a difference is that 5 laps going to make?
I think what we've seen so far, Todd, is a guy like Chase Elliott. When this race started, he laid off the throttle. He kind of rode for a bit. I would expect these guys like Sheldon Creed, Chase Elliott, Grant Enfinger, guys that are pitting here now as Chase Elliott gets 4 tires. I would expect them to maybe ease off the line on this green flag and get to the end of the stage and then stay out, like you said.
Yeah, I think you're right, Michael.
Nice work there by Creed's team, picking up 2 spots.
Come back for this restart. It's going to take us to the end of stage 2 for the Gander trucks at Atlanta. Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, getting ready for the sprint to the end of stage 2. Stage 2 end at lap 60, and we're at lap 55.
You know, Vince, this place is really difficult. It's hard enough just having a normal day, but when you have trouble on pit road and go to the back.
And we saw that with Sheldon Creed and Zane Smith nabbed for speeding on that last exchange of pit stops.
Now, Todd, this is what I would do if I were these two.
I'm with you.
Half throttle. Don't even push the gas. Just so gently. Save those tires so you can stay out and have a good run when we start our final run to the checkers.
4 laps to go. You ride around in a serious manner.
Yes.
First truck on fresh tires is Grant Enfinger back in that 8th spot.
This has been a fun race. Certainly a lot of different strategies and guys that have been up front and back. And
the cautions have fallen at spots that have made it interesting and given some crew chiefs some options.
Created the opportunity to have some strategy for sure.
All right, let's see how this restart goes. We've seen an advantage on that inside line both restarts so far.
It'll be Kyle Busch and Todd Gilliland on the front row. Busch on the inside, Gilliland outside. 4 to go in stage 2.
Great restart by Todd Gilliland. Now he has no drafting help, where Austin Hill's up there pushing Kyle.
Austin Hill had to gather it up. Yeah, he had to gather it up as Johnny Sauter got into the back bumper of that 16 of Hill. And there's Ben Rhodes. Oh, and how about Infinger making it 4 wide? 3 of those were teammates.
Johnny Sauter slips up, and Ben Rhodes is just going to push him.
The 19 of Derek Kraus there in that mix as well in the Napa truck. Right behind Austin Hill on the bottom line. 3 laps remaining here in stage 2, and one looked like was getting sideways back in the pack.
Austin Hill had her sideways, Vince. That's who it was.
How about Chastain on the bottom, moving past Hill?
Look at Brett Moffitt making the move up top in that 23 truck. Pulls in behind Ty Majeski.
Majeski with the iRacing sponsorship on the hood of that truck. And there's Matt Crafton on the outside. Remember, Crafton dealing with some damage, and Kraus and Gilliland battling it out. That's for 3rd. Kraus gets it.
What a nice run for Derek Kraus in that Napa truck.
Kraus, one of the 4 teenagers in the field, just 18 years old.
How's he know what he's doing at Atlanta, man? That's impressive.
Maybe sometimes it's better not knowing.
I've heard that. That's why I've done well, I think.
Chastain in the red 42, Gilliland in the 38. Final lap here in stage 2.
Ross Chastain. Wow. Todd, you pointed out during break, you better keep your eye on the watermelon man.
Oh, and Lassard holding on to it on the top lane as Matt Crafton in that damaged 88 works the bottom for position.
I told you, Michael, that damage was going to help that truck, and you laughed at me.
Well, I do that a lot, Todd. It certainly looks good at this point, though. It doesn't really look good, but it's running well.
Same result as stage 1. Kyle Busch, the stage winner, but some great racing all over this 1.5 miles here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You better gather it up. Final stage coming up. Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Gander trucks, race number 4 of the season, and we're 2/3 the way through. Xfinity fastest lap belongs to Kyle Busch and his teammate Christian Eckes right there behind him. A couple of GMS trucks 3rd and 4th, and Grant Infinger from ThorSport rounding out the top 5.
Being fast for a lap is important, but not near as important it is to be fast after 10 or 15 laps, and Kyle Busch has had both today. I'm impressed with Grant Infinger, though. He's been solid in that number 98 truck.
He's hung around the top 10, top 5 most of this race. You know, Grant's got a lot of experience here, so he understood how to keep that truck under him, keep those tires on it.
I think my story of the day, though, could be Derek Kraus in that 19 truck. The teenager has done such a great job of getting himself in a position to race in the top 5 and then taking advantage of it, hanging in there with the experienced veterans, Grant Infinger and Kyle Busch ahead of him.
Well, and Todd Gilliland did a nice job too. He is one who stayed out that last round of pit stops, that last sequence. He, along with Kyle Busch, and managed to keep his truck in the top 5. There's Gilliland leading the way in that 38 with Johnny Sauter right behind him. Austin Hill, the 16, the 99 is Ben Rhodes. The 51 is Kyle Busch, Alan.
Yeah, if anything, Kyle Busch says he's been fighting a little bit of a tight condition throughout the day, just wants to make it that much better to keep going and win this race. He says we just can't beat ourselves. That's what we did last week in Charlotte. On the right of your screen, the 38 Todd Gilliland. They just need a small adjustment to keep it on the bottom of the track, guys.
Dr. Kyle Busch talking about beating themselves a week ago. They started with a mechanical issue and then chased it for a couple of pit stops. 3, in fact, 3 pit stops, and finally got it workable late in the race, and he had some speed. No such issues today. Today, a full slate of racing from Atlanta Motor Speedway. It continues with the Xfinity Series race coming up this afternoon over on Fox. And then tomorrow, it's the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 live at 3 o'clock Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. How about this? Shortly after they raced chariots, it was Todd Bodine going to victory lane. 2006, I believe it was.
06, yeah. I tell you, that was probably one of my most favorite victories because of the guy that I beat to the start-finish line. Mark Martin has always been one of my heroes. He helped him when I was getting started with a lot of advice, and to be able to beat Mark and I actually passed him 4 wide, which was really cool. We passed 2 lap trucks at the same time, so that was a great day for us. And of course, it was a brand new sponsor at the time, Lumber Liquidators, and we went on to win the championship. So it was a pretty good year that year.
I love truck racing at Atlanta, Todd. That 4 wide move, I remember it. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast, but that's 15 years ago, and I remember that big move you made.
Yeah, everybody gets lucky once in a while, right?
Mike Hillman Jr., your crew chief for that race, right?
Yeah, he's got his driver up in 5th right now, Rafael Lessard, so I got a little something to root for there.
Grant Enfinger inside, Derek Kraus outside, and the green is waving, and we're racing again. It's the final stage in Atlanta.
You're outside. He's out there. 4's coming to your bumper. Still outside. 4's coming to your bumper. Still out there. Hold you tight. Hold you tight. You're doing 1 out the back.
That voice you heard, Chris Lambert, the spotter for the 98 of Enfinger. Right beside Enfinger on the door is Chastain, and here comes Crafton in that neon yellow 88 with all that black tape on the front of it. He's trying to make a go of it. Damaged or not.
There's no way that thing can run that good.
Look at the 18 down on the bottom. Christian Eckes is going to take the lead.
Boy, those KBM trucks are stout today. Eckes and Kyle Busch both showing their way at the front of the field throughout the different portions of this race. And how about Ross Chastain, who has taken this top spot from Eckes? And here comes another KBM truck, Rafael Lessard up top. He is 3rd.
Looks like old Mike Jr.'s got that thing tuned up on this last stop, and Rafael's got a little experience now, understands the track a little bit and how to let off, and he's going to take a couple more positions.
But big runs for both Lessard and Eckes. Neither one had managed a top 10 yet this season, but they have put it together today, driving for the pilot of that man's truck, Kyle Busch, in the 51. Jeb Burton got some damage after getting into the wall in that 44 truck. Brennan Poole has moved around Burton now.
Burton's back outside the top 20, so that contact really hurt him. And here comes Chase Elliott up on the top. Make a big run off the corner. Can he pass Derek Kraus?
Absolutely.
Just inside the top 10, and that spot is for 7th.
Poor Derek Kraus, he learned the hard way on that restart how hard that outside line is. He started on the outside pole and went backwards.
Kyle Busch creeping up as well, as there's the 51 truck just behind Chase Elliott. 3 wide.
How many times have we said 3 wide today? These guys really taking advantage of the multi-grooves in the corners to get moves made. We've even seen 4 wide a couple of times.
Sauter in the silver truck. And there's his teammate Matt Crafton in the 88. Crafton in 5th. Brett Moffitt up top, and Kyle Busch giving a little bumper to Crafton.
Kyle's got about 10 lap fresher tires than the guys he's racing around, with his strategy working perfectly this week. Look at that truck hug that white line down on the bottom. That's what you want to feel at Atlanta. That thing bouncing up and down, but staying right on that yellow white line, white and red line on the bottom.
Kyle's strategy working perfectly. You say Danny Stockman breathing a little bit easier this afternoon?
Charlotte was a struggle, but that was mainly because of mechanical issues. They had some stuff they had to address on the truck. So I think this week they've got it all together. It appears so far anyway.
All 3 of the KBM trucks have run well. Kyle was very upset last week after the way his team's trucks ran at Charlotte, and quite constructive with his criticism, but constructive, not irate in the team meetings this week. Very constructive, showing leadership as he's visited with the team engineers and crew chiefs. How about that leader, Ross Chastain? Allen, he's out front, and a pack is chasing him.
Everything going well for Ross Chastain right now. He wants to keep it on the bottom of the racetrack if he can, especially in 3 and 4 going into 1 and 2 right now. But he says when he gets to the bottom of the racetrack, he almost has to turn right to keep the truck under him. So pretty crazy in there right now as he leads this race.
Well, that's no fun when you got to turn right.
But that's what you do at Atlanta. You got to turn right as much as you do left, I think.
Well, a lot of times you do.
Good look there at Infinger, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Elliott and Moffitt.
Yeah, this 24 truck has the best lap times of anyone in the top 10 other than Kyle Busch. He's a couple tenths better than most, so he'll be to the front before long.
You think that old Chase is maybe pedaling a little bit, Michael?
I think he did at the end of the last run to be able to charge in this run. Okay. So I think he's in a good spot time-wise, and that's what these crew chiefs will say. You know, we can run a 32.90 if we need to. Let's back it down to a 33.30 until we get to the end of the stage, take care of our tires.
Saw Kyle Busch move past Eckes for second. Busch had restarted 18th and is now in second as Lassard and Chase Elliott. Now Elliott gets that position. That's 4th.
Chase, the fastest truck on the track, despite the fact that as he races along, Lassard there. Despite the fact
watch Chase pull over.
Oh,
did you see that, Michael?
That's right-handed. That's a right-hand turn there.
Chase pulled down the middle of the track so Raphael would go to the outside instead of getting under him and taking away his line into the corner. That's just smart racing.
You said they have to turn right sometimes?
A little bit. That's not too bad.
170 miles an hour in a pickup truck, that ain't too bad. I've done it before and it scares me.
Great run for Chase Elliott. He's won his last 2 starts in this series. Go back to Martinsville 2017 and then the most recent race at Charlotte when he won the bounty from Kyle Busch. And here's Brett Moffitt making his way past Derek Kraus. Just inside the top 10, running 7th and 8th. Moffitt, a terrific story in his own right after suffering serious bike injury, dirt bike injury, breaking both legs. He's rehabbed and recovered, running strong in both the Truck and Xfinity Series. The final stage at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The leader is Ross Chastain, and Kyle Busch is in his tire tracks with less than 50 to go at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
These two have a history of racing each other very aggressively, and I know how much it means to Ross Chastain to be up there leading this race and holding off Kyle Busch. So don't look for him to roll over if they get side by side.
And a couple of seconds behind them is Chase Elliott, who won the most recent event at Charlotte and has shown plenty of speed throughout the course of this day as Kyle and Ross go door to door for the lead.
That's a very difficult line that Ross just ran. And usually you get in that spot, it wants to push up off the corner, and boy, Ross held it right down on him.
Now he's going to try to go up top and get that big momentum run off of 2 that we've seen guys get.
Yeah, the back of that truck moving around. He's not getting that momentum right now.
Kyle's tires are 10 laps newer than Chastain's, but only 5 of those laps were green flag conditions. So not much of a tire advantage, but any little bit it helps here at Atlanta, as we talked about.
Yeah, I was going to say, what difference does that make?
Well, I believe that we see the cream rising to the top. You got Busch, Chastain, and Chase Elliott, 1, 2, 3. They've got a lot of talent behind the wheel of these trucks and also a lot of experience. So I don't think the tires are much of a factor at this point. Now, there are some decisions that are going to have to be made, Todd, on when you take those last 2 sets of tires. We've gotten into a position now where as laps run down and they still have those tires in the pits, the crew chiefs are feeling more and more comfortable about their position, not making a mistake here and getting their tires at the wrong time.
Yeah, everybody's got a set. Some have 2 sets. So So shouldn't be an issue moving forward. Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain, as mentioned by Michael, have raced each other hard this season, as you would expect. And this was at Charlotte, the Xfinity Series.
Look at that push down the back, and
Little message delivered there.
Those are not friendly pushes as you enter the corner, and you can see Ross Chastain dive right down on the quarter panel of the 54 of Kyle Busch.
Hopefully we'll see them side by side again before the afternoon is over, as we've got 43 to go here in Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coming up on some lap traffic ahead of them.
Corbin Forrester there in the 7 trucks, the first one they'll catch, but he goes to the bottom, as does Todd Gilliland. Nice move on Christian Eckes as he takes the bottom, and there we are, 3 wide again.
How about there on the right-hand side? Infinger, Rhodes, and Lassard on the top line as Rhodes goes through the middle. I've been impressed as we look at the left side of the screen. Gilliland getting past Eckes and now into that 5th spot. It's been a nice run for Todd Gilliland here today.
He's been very solid all day in the top 10. Actually ran out in the top 5 before. I think that Todd has figured out, you know, let's take it easy here for a while, and taking it easy in the beginning of the run, like I said, it pays dividends at the end of the run.
Here's our leaders. Kyle Busch, the leader, and Ross Chastain about a second back in that red and white 42 truck as they work their way through traffic, and Chase Elliott starting to make his way through as well on the bottom.
Wow, it's getting crowded there. Angelo Ruck in the 00.
Oh,
and look at Chase. He's watching this out his windshield and trying to hang on to his truck at the same time. Forrester in the 00 of Ruck. What a close call that was for them.
Chastain Elliott rather running the top.
He's wheeling that thing.
He's in 3rd, but he's almost a full 2 seconds behind Chastain in 2nd, and another second ahead to Kyle Busch, the leader.
Saw there for a second in that blue truck coming off 2 here. Austin Hill has driven from 16th all the way up inside the top 5. I think he was back as far as 21st and has gotten into the top 5. He has the same tires as our leader Kyle Busch has, and he's taking advantage of those babies. He's running right now. Fastest truck on the track.
Well, before that last round of pit stops, Austin was pretty much in the top 5 the whole race, so he's got a good solid truck for sure.
How much would it mean to him to win this race? Hometown boy coming to
how about it?
Beating all these Cup guys and getting to victory lane, that would be huge. And he's got a fast truck. He could do just that.
Austin Hill from Winston, Georgia, and it has been a terrific season for him. He has finished top 10 in all 3 races this season. 6th at Daytona, 3rd at Vegas, 9th at Charlotte.
Let's not forget our final race last year on a very slick Homestead track, very similar to what we have here today. So him and Scotty've got a setup that really works on these slick tracks.
Scott Zippidelli, the crew chief.
Yeah, in Miami, he swept both stages and took the checkered flag in our season finale.
Finished 5th in the championship, did Hill last year with those 4 wins. Inside 40 to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch continues to lead, and he stretched it out a little bit as the first opportunity to talk about the 52 of Stuart Friesen just inside the top 20 today.
Yeah, it's been a challenging start to this 2020 season. They changed manufacturers and changed teams, and they've struggled a bit, but I think Stuart Friesen, the talent he has behind the wheel, he'll get his arms around it. There's young Tyler Ankrum, front row start, but now finds himself racing back for a top 15 position.
And here comes Chastain pitting under green. Coming to 35 to go to put on that a fresh set of tires, Alan.
Ross Chastain went a little backwards after leading much of that stage, putting 4 fresh ones on, trying to get back out there. see what he can do to get Kyle Busch. Just behind him, the 18 of Christian Eckes coming down pit road here in a second. Christian Eckes has been fighting a tight condition throughout the day, but what they're telling him is just be disciplined. He only lost a few positions on that last run. They're going to give him 4 fresh tires, see if they can get back out in the front with some strategy.
Certainly forces guys' hands, Alan. When one of the leaders comes to pit road, it becomes follow the leader to pit road, make this decision. They've decided to split this final stage into 2 different runs for tires. Fresh tires here, have another set in the pits. And if everybody does it, it's hard to get an advantage, huh?
Well, and Chastain was almost 2.5 seconds behind Kyle Busch at that time. So go ahead and put those fresh ones on, and you see so many others taking that opportunity as well. Infinger on the right hand side, and that's Johnny Sauter on the left hand. Sheldon Creed in the 2 truck. Zane Smith in the 21 peeling off.
Somebody's going to have a penalty. You see that tire out in pit road. You can't have a tire get away unless maybe another truck knocks it out of your hands, but generally a penalty follows when your tire gets out there.
Watch the crews of Derek Kraus and Austin Hill go to work. And Kyle Busch now on pit road from the lead.
I saw that smoke there. That was Chase Elliott trying to get to pit road with Kyle Busch, and he had too much speed. He slid past it. He'll be fortunate if he doesn't blow out a tire here, Todd. Certainly going to lose a lot of time by making that big slide.
That was a very costly error. He's going to have a hard time making that time up on the racetrack. What about the 51, Alan?
Kyle Busch is trying to make those final adjustments to get that checkered flag. He said during that last run he was actually asking the spotter for help or what he could do better in turns 3 and 4 to look at the other trucks to see drivers what they're doing. He just wants to be a little bit better coming out of 4.
The uncontrolled tire that Michael pointed out was the 45 of Ty Majeski, as Chase Elliott successfully navigates his way to pit road this time.
4 tires will be the call. Oh, did he?
Looked like he started to get into the wrong box.
Yeah. Is Cobbin into the wall? Is that right side skimmed up?
Absolutely. That's a flat side for sure.
Looks like the left rear is not in great shape either.
No. Well, you push that right side over, something's going to happen to the left side. Kyle is way off the pace right here.
So we'll go back and see if we can find Kyle. You saw the Goodyear rubbed off the right front tire. Definitely got into the wall as Chase Elliott is back on track and up to speed. Jordan Anderson slow up top in that 3 truck, and then watch Kyle come up on him.
Oh. Or Anderson had been in the outside wall. Todd, this just speaks to how difficult it is to change directions with one of these trucks. Even when the tires are fresh, you commit to the corner. He didn't have any chance to get under Anderson and ran into the outside wall. We see now why there's damage to both sides of that truck.
So troubles for Kyle Busch, and there's also issue for Chase Elliott. So Kyle penalized for speeding coming to pit road. Chase missed pit road, and then after the pit stop, Kyle ends up getting into the wall when he came up on the slower vehicle of Jordan Anderson, and that puts Austin Hill in the front.
we talked about Austin a minute ago. He's had a solid truck the whole race, kept himself out of trouble.
Nice battle for third between Gilliland and Eckes, and it's not much of a battle as Gilliland takes that position.
It's a heck of a day at sea, sir. There's a lot of things going on right now in this race. A favorite, Kyle Busch into the outside wall. It looked like the front end was out of line, too. It looked like that right front tire maybe was towed out on the 51 truck. Pointing toward the wall.
And the 51 of Kyle Busch speeding again on pit road. And there's Danny Stockman. Can't believe it. Less than 30 to go. And Atlanta and Austin Hill leads by almost a second and a half off over Ross Chastain, but Chastain is on the move in that red truck.
Another truck that's going to be on the move and join these guys for the battle for the lead before this is over, I believe, is Chase Elliott. He was able to overcome that mistake getting a pit road as an inside the top 5. So wouldn't it be fun to see a couple Georgia boys battle for this victory?
6 seconds back, Michael. That's a big deficit to try to make up. If we go green, I just don't think it's going to happen.
28 laps remaining. Can Elliott make up the gap? Austin Hill leading at Atlanta. Creeping up on 20 to go at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Gander trucks. Austin Hill leading the way in the blue and white 16 truck.
You know what the best thing to do, Todd, at Atlanta is to lead the race on the bottom. I mean, I've run well there before, and you have to run right out next to the outside wall. That's nerve-wracking. You cut that thing to the bottom, run it down on that white and red line. That is a good feeling.
Everybody watch Kevin Harvick do that for how many races in the Xfinity Series and win? I think they all want to do it.
That's the gap back to second place Ross Chastain at 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then another 2.5 back to third place Todd Gilliland, and Chase Elliott still about 6 seconds back.
You know, when the season started in 2019, we would have never dreamed of what Austin Hill was going to be able to accomplish. We just didn't see the performance in his history to think he could go out and win races like he did and race all the way to the end of the season, winning the first race in Daytona and the last in Miami.
And I think you got to give a lot of credit to Scott Zipadelli and the team at Hattori Racing for not only putting those kind of trucks under him, but building his confidence as well that he could do it.
Scott's been around this sport a long time, and he's had to deal with rookie drivers and guys like Austin. And yes, building confidence and having the ability to put good trucks under him, that's what put Austin where he's at.
Gander RV 20 to go. You saw as Austin Hill continues to maneuver, and Ross Chastain about 3 seconds back in second, who, Todd, you spent some time with this week talking about the way to handle this racetrack.
Yeah, Ross, me and Ross are buddies, and, you know, I don't like to tell him a lot because he's a pretty darn good driver, you know, but there was a few tricks that I had learned at Atlanta, and I wanted to share them with him. Maybe if it could help him, great. And so far, so good. I don't know if he's helped them or not. We'll find out.
And Chase Elliott may be starting to put the hammer down with 19 to go as he's cut into that deficit a little bit as he moves past Gilliland for third.
You see that white and red line? It used to be yellow, and it used to be more up on the track, and that's sent a buzz around the garage area when they would watch Kevin Harvick do his thing. Harvicking, it was called, and he would paint that line. But now they've moved the line down. Will that give other people an advantage to learn how to run that Harvick line? Maybe there's a blueprint there.
What difference does it make, Mike, that it's been moved down?
It just
is it a visual?
Visually, these guys know how low they can go. Before, that yellow line was up on the banking. They moved it down, and I think it's just made it more accessible for more drivers to figure out.
But also, Michael, if you look at that line, it's got black spots in it. When it gets black, it means it has grip. So if you hook that left front on that line, it might be creating a lot of grip for these guys.
Watching Austin Hill come up on some lap traffic, and we saw how that impacted Kyle Busch a little bit ago. Hill maneuvering his way, trying to, around the 26 of Ankrum and the 30 of Brennan Poole.
I love this story. I love Austin Hill running like this at his home track. I remember a year ago when we were at Atlanta, I saw him running physically through the infield, getting in shape, toughening up, and getting in a position to go out and run these races and be tough all day long. Well, it certainly has worked for him.
Well, they're racing for that trophy there on the left-hand side of the screen, the Vet-Tix Camping World 200.
There's Kyle Busch getting a lap back, but little too little, lot too late, Alan.
Yeah, all quiet on the 16 radio right now for Austin Hill, save for some updates from his spotter. Again, he is from here. He is from Georgia. Normally, you'd have so many people here. His parents traveled to every race, so no doubt they are on his mind right now as he tries to close this one out and get that checkered flag here at his home track. But again, he's not saying a word as these laps tick down.
He's from Winston, Georgia, about 55 miles away. And his spotter, Alan mentioned Austin Hill's spotter for this race. It's Eddie DeHaat, who is the Cup spotter for Chase Elliott.
It's got to be a little confusing for Eddie, huh?
We'll make sure that Eddie's looking at the right driver when he's giving his information. Elliott back in third.
You know, we talked about that 6-second deficit Elliott was facing. He's cut that down to 4 now. No quit and Chase Elliott. We know that. And if Austin Hill tries to save those tires, Chase will be there.
Well, Austin was caught up in some pretty heavy traffic for a few laps. I'm going to say that's where that time came from. And we'll see right here. He's in the open again to see if he can hold court.
Vince, one thing's for certain, though. The caution flag flies now. All these leaders are going to come get some tires.
And if you're Austin Hill, the last thing you want is a caution, right?
The last thing at this moment for that team, that 16 team, is a caution. There you see Ross Chastain off turn 4. Here comes Chase. Wow, all the way out next to that outside wall.
Chase Elliott will be on the bumper of Chastain momentarily in a battle for second, but they're still over 3 seconds behind the leader, Austin Hill, coming to 12 to go. The mile-and-a-half program has been so strong for the 16 team. They won 2 of the last 4 on the mile-and-a-half.
Vince, how about that 38 truck right there, Todd Gilliland? This is probably one of his best runs, definitely of this season, and probably of last season too. Had some big struggles last week at Charlotte.
Well, they had a good car. They were running, or truck. They were running in the top 5, and then got caught up in an accident with a little over 30 to go.
Yeah, and you string 2 of them together like this, that begins to build that confidence. At times last year, we know there were struggles, but certainly proven he can get it done behind the wheel.
With a veteran crew chief like Chris Larson.
Man, you know how good racing in traffic feels when you have a perfect handling truck. You can just go anywhere you want. That was some great moves there in traffic by Hill.
And Infinger's truck has been good today as well as he moves into the top 5. Chase Elliott will now have to navigate this glob of traffic.
This is the traffic that Austin Hill had to navigate about 6 laps ago. So I think that deficit that he's going to have is going to grow a little bit here.
Yeah, he's lost a couple of seconds just in the last 2 laps because of this traffic.
Well, and if you watch this traffic, they're all running different lines, and it is so hard to get through it when they're doing that because you have nowhere to go.
Yeah, those lapped trucks are the best friend of Austin Hill.
He's going to get 2 in a shot right here.
Elliott finally getting space to maneuver. There's no question Elliott's truck is quicker, but when they're 3 wide in front of you, there's not much room to go. Timmy Hill up in the 56 truck up top. Another one of those drivers that'll run 450 miles today. He'll do the Xfinity Series race after this one.
Todd, you know that as a racer, running 450 miles in one day is awesome. All you want to do is race a vehicle in NASCAR. These guys are getting to do double duty.
Chastain, that red truck, the 2nd place truck, and that's the distance up ahead of the leader, Austin Hill. Less than 10 to go.
Austin's actually stretched it out on Ross just a little bit the last few laps. I don't think that, I just don't see anybody catching him right now. Right now, Austin's praying for no cautions. No cautions right here. Keep going. Go green.
What a great job by Scott Zipadelli setting this truck up, and Austin Hill just wheeling it. Nothing better. Oh, truck skimmed off the outside wall. Nothing better than running fast at your home track.
You know, every time we've had this camera on 16 of Austin Hill, that truck has not been sideways once, and that's how you get to the front. You keep it under. You take what you got. And he's done a great job all day.
And you got to give a tip of the cap too, Vince, to this pit crew. They did a nice job on that green flag stop, getting that speed, having a fast pit stop, and getting him out front.
And this performance it's not like it's, out of nowhere. I mean, remember, this is a championship team. They won the championship 2 years ago with Brett Moffitt behind the wheel. Moffitt goes to GMS, and Austin Hill steps into the 16 truck. And frankly, many people wondered about whether or not Austin Hill was going to hold his own in that truck, and he came out of the gate, won at Daytona, ended up winning 4 times last season, including the season finale at Homestead, finished 5th in the championship standings, and he's backed it up again this season with 3 straight top 10s, and today he leads with 7 to go.
I guarantee you someone that's impressed by his line would be Kevin Harvick, because you cut low off turn 4 and able to keep that truck well away from the wall while running that inside lane. That is impressive. You can tell he's been doing a lot of videotape watching, understanding what the Harvick line looks like, how to work the throttle and the gas, and the brake. He's doing it all right now.
You know, how good are you when you have something named after you? The Harvick line. What, the Michael Waltrip? Well, how about the Todd Bodine?
4 in a row at Texas. Right, Todd?
Yeah. Yeah, that was good times, but I got no trophies named after me.
5 laps remaining for Austin Hill.
Chase Elliott's truck has fallen off.
Yeah.
He's dropped about 9 seconds behind Austin Hill after making a strong run in the middle of this battle, but now he's losing ground.
Well, you know what, Michael? We talked about tire management. Chase was giving it everything he had at the beginning of this run. And you know that when you do that, you're going to pay for it at the end. He was banking on getting that caution and getting that other set of tires.
All right, Todd, let me hear it. Caution flies right now with just 4 to go. Do you pit? Do you pit or not?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Tires are king even at this late stage. But Austin Hill, the last thing he wants is a caution, because unless something disastrous happens with a 5-second lead, he's in great position. He doesn't want a caution.
I'll tell you what, Vince, he has not let up. He's driving away from these guys. He's up to almost 5.5 seconds on Chastain now.
And there is the second place, Ross Chastain.
Ross got on the radio and said, where'd that guy go anyway? And how's he getting there? And I'm sure the spotters are explaining to the racers what line Austin Hill is running. Everybody's saying he's down there on the bottom. We've seen how that works. And he's committed to it. You can see just waiting off turn 2 to make the move on Clay Greenfield. Didn't want to go up top. Just stayed down on the bottom and was patiently waiting to get around him.
And we're going to have a caution because it's Chase Elliott.
No caution, no caution. Oh, come on.
So Elliott goes around and it brings out the caution, the worst case scenario for that man, Austin Hill.
Green, white checker. What do you do, Michael?
Oh, man. They've got 14 trucks on the lead lap. You got to think about that. I'm pitting. I'm bringing that 16 truck to pit road and see how many people come along with me.
Elliott was running 3rd at the time. I think he kept it off the wall.
Yeah, he did. But I'm telling you, those Hooters wings are smoked.
Yeah, the right rear finally couldn't take it.
You said it, Todd. He abused those tires, and he finally couldn't hang on to it.
You can see it soft right there.
Great job keeping it off the wall and preventing damage to that 24.
After he saves it, he said, guys, I'll be right to you. I need a little service.
Those cords don't hold air very well when they get down that low.
I mean, everybody's got to come and get that fresh rubber, right?
Well, not everybody.
What are you doing? You're not coming? Are you telling me you're not coming, Mike?
I'm Austin Hill. I'm not. I'm coming to pit road and getting 4 tires. If I'm Brett Moffitt, maybe I'm outside the top 5 or in the back half of the top 10. I might stay out and take a chance.
Todd?
I'm with Michael. I think I don't know where that cutoff is, if you're 5th, 6th, 7th, where you decide to stay out. But if you are the first one to stay out, boy, you hope there's about 10 of them behind you that do stay out.
Yeah, and then you hope that you can sprint for 1 lap and get a caution, because you ain't going to make it 2 laps.
And the 24 of Elliott, by the way, will go a lap down. And I heard in both of your explanations the word hope mentioned multiple times. As you always say, Mike, hope is not a strategy.
Well, it is a strategy. It's just not a very good one.
The 88 free pass goes to Matt Crafton.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Going to NASCAR overtime when Austin Hill had it in the bag. He had about a 4.5 second lead.
There's nothing worse, Vince. You do your job like he did it all day long, be in a position just to cruise home. But this is NASCAR. You never count your chickens before they hatch. And even though he's in the catbird seat, he certainly's got some issues now trying to figure out his crew chief. His crew chief's going to tell him what to do. Austin Hill is going to simply do that.
Well, and those behind him, the Chastains, the Gillilans, the Infingers, the Sauter Rhodes, everybody else is thrilled to death that the caution has come out, because all of a sudden now it's put them back in the game.
Yeah, you see the lights.
Yeah, they're pitting. They're all pitting. How far back? Who's going to be the first one to stay out, Michael?
How far back would you go, Mike, before you decided to be the guy to stay out?
Maybe Stuart Friesen. It's been a tough start to the season. He's on the lead lap.
At 12.
What would he do?
Whoa, only 3 of them.
Wow.
Only 3 came in.
How about that?
And there's a couple of stragglers.
Yeah, you got a few trucks. They're all stragglers when you compare them to Chase Elliott. I think most of them.
Out of our front group, it was only 3 of them, though.
Oh.
Nothing on the radio from our leader, Austin Hill, in the 16 there. No debate, no strategy. They were coming. They were coming for 4 tires. They think they can still win this race with the fresh rubber.
I think they can too, Alan, and that big lead he had should help him win the race off pit road as it does. He had lap trucks between him and the guys he was racing, so he had that gap. The team does their job. He gets 4 tires and on to the track first.
Well, we're about to see a dramatic finish because we've got fresh tires that are going to be coming up through the field, and it's going to be a shootout to the finish with NASCAR overtime. They'll take the green and then they'll come back around and get the white, and after the white flag flies, the next flag, whether it's the yellow caution flag or the checkered flag, obviously ending the race. There's the rules, a 2-lap shootout. Now if we get a caution before the white flag, we'll rack them and do it again.
Oh yeah. This has got me on the edge of my chair. What a great job, Austin Hill. All day long. If you picked a Georgia boy that was going to win, I guess you put your money on Chase Elliott, but Austin Hill said not so quickly.
Well, it has been a thriller today, and it certainly looked like Austin Hill was going to walk away with this one with that large lead with just under 3 laps to go, and then the caution comes out because Chase Elliott spins. And all of a sudden, you got a shootout that's going to take us to the finish. But it's been an exciting one today.
What a thriller it's been. We've had everything happen. A Fox on Fox Sports. Look at the nimble moves here to get out of the way.
We've had some issues on pit road. The first being Matt Crafton with his collision to the back end of the 8 truck of John Hunter Nemechek.
Just don't tailgate. That's a good lesson there for young drivers learning to get it done.
Kyle Busch won the first 2 stages, but he has had his share of problems as well. There he came up on the slow truck of Jordan Anderson and got into the wall, right side damage and left rear, and then got caught for speeding twice as he came to pit road to get work. And Danny Stockman just can't believe it. Chase Elliott was super fast today, Mike.
Yeah, and he just had to go for it. They got behind after the pit stops, 5-6 seconds back time. He was pushing the issue, and it just stepped over the edge on him.
Yeah, a little too much on the tires. Couldn't take it at the end of the run. It just he was hanging on the whole time at the last half of this run, and finally got out from under him.
You know, if Chase Elliott can lose one here at Atlanta, just how on the edge these racers are. A really difficult track to run hard on your old tires, and certainly cost him there.
Seeing the race off pit road after that last sequence of pit stops, Austin Hill, who had been out front and has led 34 laps today, and Ross Chastain has come back in.
Well, looks like he had a left rear tire loose.
You can see there everybody eventually pitted, so it'll be fresh tires versus fresh tires. Short run speed's crucial, and so could that bottom lane for the start. Austin Hill gets the break down there like we've seen all day long. He could drive off and win this thing.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the right move. I can't imagine somebody trying to stay out against the fresh tires at this stage.
Well, we had to make sure that we knew that it was a possibility, even though no one took that chance. Certainly going to be fun to see who can win in this short haul.
And there's Todd Gilliland, who will restart on the outside.
What about our old buddy Zane?
Yep.
He's up there in that 4th position.
Christian Eckes and Zane Smith, row 2.
Eckes really needed this rebound. They were struggling at Charlotte. Now he feels like he's got it back, can contend for these wins this year. Going to roll off 3rd. There's Brett Moffitt, Tim Duggar, and Grant Enfinger up there on the outside.
Coming up next, America's Day at the Races here on FS1. We're going to take one more pace lap.
Vince, I didn't need that. I was ready.
See if Todd Gilliland can make that outside go on this restart. We know how tough it is. And you got to have so much patience on the throttle when you're in that outside lane coming at the start-finish line.
And again, mention that coming up next, America's Day at the Races here on FS1. Love the drone shots, and our director Artie Kempner has given us many wonderful views throughout the course of the day today. Well done, Artie.
The drone piloted by Clint Boyer. All the crew that tunes up our cameras and the men and women that make this show go on, thank you so much.
We've talked about the restarts and how critical it is. Here's from last year. Todd, how about the inside line and why it's so much more successful?
Well, we always talk about, we don't know why. We really don't understand this because the pavement's the same. It was laid down at the same time. I think a lot of it is the angle that the trucks get the launch right there. That is on that little bit of the corner in the dog leg, so I don't think that helps the matters. But I think a lot of it is when that guy on the outside hears the truck in the inside motor up and start to go, you just push the gas too hard and you start spinning the tires, where you gotta have patience. And yeah, go ahead, Michael. This is where we disagree, so go ahead.
I just think that the inside has more grip. The trucks run up higher through there. Maybe it's a little bit fresher pavement, but I know one thing. I want to be right where Austin Hill is right now.
And that is on the inside of the front row. It's NASCAR overtime. Overtime in Atlanta for the 5th time. And it looked like Gilliland did spin his tires on that restart, just as you guys discussed. Eckes and Enfinger side by side for second. It's going to be Enfinger grabbing the spot, but they're all chasing Austin Hill.
Enfinger's got speed though, Vince. He's going to be on him.
Grant Enfinger in that 98 truck won the season opener at Daytona. Oh, Hill got a little bit loose down there on the line, and Enfinger nudges ahead, but they're side by side. The white flag is out.
What a move by Enfinger, but here comes Hill back on the bottom. Can he crowd up and get that spot back?
Christian Eckes is right there, and can he make a move?
Grant with that outside line has the momentum. Happens every time.
Enfinger in front of Austin Hill. Oh, what a heartbreaker for Hill after being in command of this race, and now Enfinger trying to hold on. Can Hill make one more run? Ford has never won at Atlanta until today. Grant Enfinger wins.
Wow. What a move.
Good job.
Hoss.
We came to do. Great job, you. I know it wasn't the best thing on the long run, but damn if it wasn't the best thing on the short run. Great job.
We talked about that long run speed versus short run. Grant had exactly what he needed for overtime.
Absolutely. Boy, what a heartbreaker, though, for Austin Hill, Scott Cipodelli, and the whole crew to have a truck that strong, put it up front, have it in the bag, and end up losing it in a green-white checker. That's heartbreaking.
The 4th career win for Grant Enfinger, 2nd this season. As mentioned, he won the season opener at Daytona and comes back to get his 1st win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I mentioned it's the 1st for Ford. Ford has won over 100 times now, 101, 100 victories in the Truck Series without ever winning in Atlanta. They will not soon forget this one. That's for sure. And boy, what a heartbreaker. Austin Hill won't soon forget it either.
Now that's a tough pill to swallow there after such a great performance, but really great racing today, and we watch Grant Enfinger prevail.
Enfinger was the regular season champion a year ago, but he was eliminated in the 1st round of the playoffs, and they felt like they were better than that. And they have come back. He and crew chief Jeff Hensley, they have come back and shown it with authority. Win number 2 of the season.
The thrill of victory. Nothing quite like it in NASCAR.
Thumbs up for his crew sitting there on pit road. Grant Enfinger, you're here with the checkered flag. As the laps are ticking down, you were 4th. What is going through your head when the caution comes out?
Man, first of all, Chris Lambert said it perfect over the radio. This race was won at the shop. We didn't have the best truck on the long run, but we had the best truck on the short run, I feel like. The good Lord was looking out for us. It's just a special weekend. I want to say congratulations to my grandparents in Pensacola celebrating their 70th wedding anniversary. Sorry we couldn't be there, but thank you to everybody that made that special. And man, this one's for them. Just an incredible turn of events right there on the restart. Able to nail the gears right there. Something that we've been intermittent with, but we had the drive built into the truck. We had the short run speed, and that's what it came down to at the end.
Yeah, tell me about that, because you weren't the leader for the restart. You had to go out there and take it. What was that like for
That
you?
was fun, but it's good to have a great F-150 like we got. Really special to have farm paint on here. Tim Duggar, who's really special to NASCAR, and Mike Curb and Curb Records, everybody that lets us do this. And it's what means a lot. Duke and Ryan Thorson kept everything going, kept everybody employed with a paycheck going through this pandemic to hopefully put ourselves in a good position when we went back racing. And thank you to them. Thank you to everybody that allows us to do this, and just an awesome restart right there.
A close win in Daytona, a close win here in Atlanta. Guys, he has a flair for the dramatic. Grant Enfinger wins in Atlanta.
You know what you have to have sometimes, Vince? It's blind faith. He didn't know if that truck was going to run up on that high side and be able to make that pass. He trusted it. He relied on his experience to say, I think it'll work, and then he executed. What a great move to win this race, Todd.
It was. You know, we watched that replay a minute ago, and Grant got to the outside on the entry of the corner. To me, that tells me that Grant didn't lift, and Austin lifted a little bit.
We got to see the thrill of victory, and there you see Austin Hill. That's the agony of defeat. There's the move you talked about.
This is the next corner. This is turn 1 where he got the lead. Where he made the pass, though, got it set up, was down in turn 3 and 4, and just drove it in there, got them new tires, and had faith in his truck. We heard him talk about it was a short run truck, and for sure a short run truck. We saw it all day that he was fast on the short run, but heartbreaker for Austin.
Check out our top 5. I mean, this is some great racing. We've got Zane Smith, Todd Gilliland, all up there trying to win these races. What a great day.
Alan?
And we're down here with Austin Hill, obviously disappointed, getting some encouragement from his teammates. Just bring me through that last restart. What more did you need? What choice did you have to make?
Yeah, so all day on the restarts, it took our truck about 5 to 7 laps to get going. We would be on the splitter a little bit, but as the tire wear came in and as the pace fell off, our splitter heights and everything were really good. So there at the end, on that white flag lap going into turn 1 beside the 98, I drove in there deeper than I had all day. It got on the splitter a little bit, and when it did, I just got tight and I had to lift a little bit. But I'll take the blame on that one for not getting the win. We had a dominating truck. There at the end, we were just as good as the 51 and stuff before he had his issue. So, but yeah, can't thank everybody at United Rentals HRE for bringing a fast truck and unloading off the truck and just going racing like we do. We're going to be good at Homestead.
Ultimately disappointing day, guys.
It was, but not for that man. Grant Enfinger, the winner. And don't forget, later today, the Xfinity Series race over on Fox. Don't miss it, 4:30 Eastern. For Michael Waltrip and Todd Bodine, Alan Cavana, I'm Vince Welch. Grant Enfinger, the winner at Atlanta.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.